Hello and welcome to Comic Island. My name is Arden, and this is my top 10 list of Aunt May moments. This video was requested ages ago, and no matter how long it takes, I do intend to fulfill as many of these requests as I can. And if another top 10 list doesn't sound exciting enough, I'm pleased to welcome Rhonda back to reprise her role as Aunt May from our 10,000 subscribers video. Her and I will be recreating each of the 10 moments on this list. And considering what a great job she did last time, I anticipate this is going to make for an awesome top 10 video. Now remember, these choices are just my favorites. These are subjective, but I actually did a good amount of research on this. On the whole, I came up with a nice list of moments throughout this character's history from a diverse number of sources that are sweet, touching, and at times downright hilarious. So sit back and enjoy the very best of Aunt May.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just very naked right now.
What happened to your face? It's filthy.
It is?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I was cleaning the chimney.
We have no chimney.
What?
You're late.
I know.
Downstairs.
I'm late.
Now.
All right. Can you leave?
I'm leaving.
Morning, I love you.
I love you too. Hurry up.
Alright, this one is here mostly as just one of those fun little moments between Aunt May and Peter, and could realistically be swapped out with plenty of other little scenes just like this with this character. There isn't anything meaningful or particular about this scene, I just find it really funny and an awesome moment for some reason. Like many, I didn't really enjoy The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was a little too bloated and had problems that everyone has already talked about at this point. But certain aspects of this movie really did shine to me, and Aunt May was a character who really stood out in this film. She had a lot of great lines, and some dialogue even implies that she knows Peter is Spider-Man in this story. It was a fun scene and one of my very favorites, and it's nice to know that Sony did at least one good thing that I can take away from 5 Spider-Man movies. Excuse me, ma'am.
You're Captain America.
My name is Captain Steve Rogers. I knew Peter. I just wanted to say that it's my fault. It's my fault your boy is dead.
What does that mean? What does that mean? How is it your fault my nephew is dead?
Please, I just wanted to say I'm sorry.
What did you do?
The day he died, I told him. I told him he wasn't ready. I told him he was a child and that he hadn't yet earned the right to wear the uniform. And the gunshot, the wound that eventually killed him, it was meant for me. He jumped in front of it to save me.
So after you emasculated him, even though he had proved himself a hero over and over and over again, after you told him he wasn't worthy, he saved your life? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, ma'am.
He worshipped you people. You know that, don't you? He thought of you as the Knights of the Round Table. He put on the costume to be like you. He wanted to earn a place at your table. And you people come into his life. You promised to train him? And what did you do? Nothing! He was fine before he met you. He was doing fine!
Ultimate Spider-Man's death was a big moment for Aunt May. We'll talk more about the importance of this event for her character in a bit, but for now it is this moment that takes place during Peter's funeral that I have to give the number 9 slot to. Aunt May tends to change upon finding out Peter's identity, as anyone would in the situation. Usually this woman tends to not only become accepting of his time as Spider-Man, but also tougher, ready, and willing to defend herself as needed. I have better examples of this change in her personality later, but this moment is a well-documented expression of both her grief at losing what is basically her only son, and how Aunt May isn't exactly a defenseless old lady. Few others could legitimately slap Captain America in the face and totally get away with it, but Aunt May easily pulls it off what feels like a completely justified action given the situation. It's become a real favorite of mine to show how Aunt May can be quite awesome while also being a sad moment following up on the tragic loss of Ultimate Spider-Man. And this blend easily brought this moment to number 9 on my list. No! This wedding will not take place! But it will, wall crawler, over your dead body. With this ring, I thee web? Straight from the pages of classic Silver Age Spider-Man is a plot so crazy it really only could come from this particular era of comics. This moment features everything hilarious and perfect about the early era of Spider-Man, and the role Aunt May played during this time period. From the ridiculous coincidence of these two meeting and falling for one another, to the fact that Aunt May must have been completely naive not to know Otto is a villain, this story is pretty hilarious, ridiculous, and kind of awesome. The obvious irony in the position this puts Spider-Man in is the exact sort of classic predicament Spider-Man used to face. Aunt May's getting married to Dr. Octopus. She thinks he's a hero, and I'm a menace. And prom's tomorrow! It's a great little moment, and though the marriage obviously didn't stick, it still remains one of the most memorable Aunt May moments I have yet to encounter. Look, lady, I cut you a little slack, 'cause you're a Ragno boy's auntie. But I like my breakfast a certain way, and I like it done right. And
Excuse me. There's no drinking in the breakfast room until afternoon, at the earliest. Now, I believe you were saying something?
Hey, Wolvie, you gonna take that? I'm going down to the corner for donuts.
You may want to put on a shirt. It's rather brisk outside. Besides, I understand there are some rules about proper attire even in this part of New York.
What can I say? This one was another easy choice to make. This was back at an awesome period in Spider-Man history when Peter and his family lived in the Avengers Tower. I love the interaction between the Avengers and Aunt May, and it's also great because she's a lot more used to superheroes at this point, making her feel at home with the likes of Jarvis, Iron Man, and even Wolverine. This moment was one of my all-time favorite Aunt May scenes in the comics, as she totally puts Wolverine in his place. Well-deserved and a perfect moment for Aunt May's character, this one is simply unforgettable.
Don't do what we say. Don't do what he says. Don't do what you think Peter would say. Do what your heart tells you. I've learned a lot in my life, and I've learned that life is too short for anything else. Don't do what Peter would do. Do what Miles Morales would do.
The fallout of Ultimate Spider-Man's death led to a unique opportunity for writers that we don't often see when a big character like Spider-Man dies, which is the long-term effects of their deaths on the ones whose lives they touched. Usually someone like Spider-Man is gone for such a short period of time that we only see the loved ones grieve for a very brief window before their character returns in stride. And we don't get to see how these people learn to accept the death of their loved ones on a long-term basis. With the creation of Miles Morales, it seemed unlikely that Ultimate Peter Parker would be returning, but that didn't mean the end of the story for Peter's family. It's really interesting to see Peter's former guardian and her initial misgivings about Miles transform into acceptance, and she begins to not only give advice, but also help the young hero. It's great to see how far this version of a character has developed, from a caring housewife to an inspiring figure for superheroes, and that's why this talk between Miles and Aunt May is one of my all-time favorite moments.
Dr. Octavius! Dr. Octavius, come quickly! I think I just killed that awful monster! Spider-Man!
Another moment that hails from the Silver Age, this one is another classic example of Aunt May in action. To me, a scene like this works perfectly with the old way Spider-Man was treated in the comics. To Aunt May, Spider-Man's a menace according to that J. Jonah Jameson, and she not only knocks him out, but later nearly shoots Peter as well, which he only survives thanks to his spider sense. A classic and truly great moment for Aunt May.
What did you do, boy? What did did you do?
It's okay. I did it.
Just hold on. The ambulance is...
No. Don't you see? It's okay. I did it. I couldn't save him, Uncle Ben. I couldn't save him no matter what I did. But I saved you. I did it. I did. The death of Spider-Man would be a profound and transformative moment for Peter's sole living guardian within the pages of Ultimate Spider-Man, so it shouldn't be too surprising that his death led to a few moments being documented within this top 10 list, as an event like this is bound to shape and change a character and how we see her. Peter dies surrounded by the people he loves, happy he could save his Aunt May. It's not number one on this video because this is more of a great moment for Spider-Man over Aunt May, but something like this is hard to overlook. As I alluded to earlier in this video, this is an insanely important moment in Aunt May's life that had a profound impact on her. How could it not? For all intents and purposes, this woman's son died in her own arms. This would crush most people, and a moment like this, knowing how she gets through it and uses it as inspiration for others, really speaks to this character and her own inner strength. This isn't too awkward.
I was hoping it would come naturally, but it's just hanging there, over our heads. So, you're Spider-Man?
Yep. Originally I got the costume so I could try and make some money on the pro wrestling circuit.
What?
I know. It sounded like a good idea at the time. I like the costume. You can't tell who I am. You can't tell anything about me. I can wear it under my clothes.
And you made it?
MJ made the one I wear now.
She does know.
I told her.
Her, you told.
Not a diss on you.
And she's okay with it?
Is she okay with it?
How does she handle it?
We break up, we get back together. Norman Osborn threw her off a bridge.
What?
And that's why I didn't tell you. It puts you in danger. It makes you an accomplice. I didn't want to make the same mistakes I made with her. With you. And when I finally did tell you, you keeled over.
I keeled over because your father and Gwen Stacy came back from the dead. And people were shooting at the house.
Well, true. But still. By the way, those weren't really them.
Ugh.
This moment was almost number one for me. I didn't include the whole conversation in our read-through, as it felt pretty long. Plus, it's so good that I might want to do an unabridged version of this comic one day. The talk, and the events that precede it, where Aunt May learns about Peter being Spider-Man and immediately has a heart attack in the middle of a freaking shootout, is some of the best of comics I've ever seen, let alone as a moment for Aunt May. The comic I'm referring to features basically what is just an open and honest discussion between mother and son, but one that really struck me when I first read it. I feel like this comic is catharsis for anyone who's been through decades of Peter hiding this secret from his aunt, as everything is finally laid out in the open. It illustrates something important about Aunt May too. There's obviously elements to being Spider-Man that Aunt May will never like. It's dangerous, and when you get right down to it, pretty damn crazy. But this is a woman who married Uncle Ben. Of all people, she is the one who is most likely to understand why Peter does what he does. She'd appreciate her late husband's words, and in this comic, really takes them to heart and begins to accept who Peter really is. You must read the talk for yourself if you're a Spider-Man fan, because you'll be doing yourself a huge favor.
How are they, Peter? As yummy as ever?
Are you kidding, Aunt May? They're delicious. I like how you put in some almond. Is that what I'm tasting? Look at me. I've already eaten 5.
Good boy. Especially since you only needed to eat 1 or 2 at the most.
Pardon?
You'll be interested to learn that Peter's Uncle Ben couldn't go to sleep without making sure that every single door and window in our house was locked and double-locked. And that Peter's favorite cookies are ginger snaps, and that he hates oatmeal raisin. Yes, even mine. And that my friend, Emily Pollock, hasn't ordered yarn for me in 10 years, since she retired to Florida, the dear.
You were testing me? This whole time?
Heavens no. I was confirming. I suspected you weren't Peter on the elevator ride up. After all, what kind of mother wouldn't be able to tell her son from an imposter? because that's what I am to Peter. I'm sorry, which one are you? The Chameleon, Mysterio, a new one?
No, I'm Chameleon, all right. And you're... What did you do to me?
Dear me, haven't you figured it out yet? That almond you detected? I wasn't being creative with my recipe. That's just what arsenic tastes like. Almond. In other words...
You...
Mercy. What were you going to call me, I wonder?
So do I even need to explain why this moment is so awesome? This is one of the greatest things I've ever seen come out of Spider-Man comics. And in the words of this character's creator, nuff said. I can't believe I let you talk me into this, Aunt May.
Oh, please, Peter. One more day cooped up in that house and I'd go absolutely batty. Where's the harm in coming up here for an hour?
Top of the Empire State. I used to love it when you and Uncle Ben would bring me here.
He was crazy about this place. Used to take me here when we were courting.
Guess it was a cheap date, huh?
We didn't have very much money. But I swear to you, it was better than any movie or any meal in a fancy restaurant. Because we were together.
You still miss him, don't you? Aunt May?
Peter, how does it feel?
How does what feel?
Swinging over the city. Almost flying, really. How wonderful to be so light. So free.
I don't know what
It's funny. I've known for years. How could I not? Living under the same roof with you all that time. I'd have been an idiot not to know. But Peter, I could never really let myself know. Whenever I thought of you out there, putting yourself in danger, risking your life again and again, I just pushed it down, pushed it away, denied it. After Ben died, you were all I had. I couldn't bear to lose you too. It's no wonder he frightened me so. It's no wonder I couldn't even bear to hear the name Spider-Man.
You knew? You knew? Aunt May, I need a minute to take this in. You knew? Oh God, Aunt May, you have to understand. I wanted to tell you. I did. But you were so sick.
You don't have to explain anything. You did what you thought was right. And so did I. What else could we do? We're human.
But I've made so many mistakes. Things I'm not very proud of. I don't know where to begin telling you about...
Don't tell me anything. Let me tell you. Peter Parker, you're as good a man as your Uncle Ben, and no kinder, more decent soul ever lived. If he was here, he'd let you know, in no uncertain terms, how proud of you he is. How proud we both are. No, you just...
What is it? What's wrong?
Just tired. Maybe I pushed myself a little too much today. I think it's time to go home.
So I spoke to Dr. Caputo. She said this fever you're running has her worried. She's going to be here soon to check.
No.
Mary Jane and Aunt Anna should be getting back any minute.
No, Peter.
And then we can...
No doctors. No hospitals. No Mary Jane or Anna. This time is for us to say our goodbyes.
Goodbyes? What are you talking about? It's just a little fever. I'm sure once Dr. Caputo
Don't
sees
you see, my sweet nephew? This past week together, it's been a gift. A chance for us to take our leave. I couldn't just fade away like that. I had to hold on just a little bit longer. For you. You've never been very good at letting go, Peter. Losing your parents the way you did made it so hard for you.
Oh, Aunt May.
Yes. But not all the leave-taking is bad. I've had a good life, a long life. But I'm tired, Peter. It's my time. It's my time.
I had a dream recently. I dreamed I was dying, and you were there with me, Aunt May. I was so scared, so confused, but I knew that you'd help me, and you did. You told me I had a journey to make. It was my destiny, you said. What was I supposed to do, I asked you. Where am I supposed to go? And you remind me back when you'd read to me, over and over again, when I was little. You pointed to the night sky, and do you know what you said? Second to the right, and straight on to morning. Remember that? How Peter Pan and Wendy and Michael and John would fly over the city and up into the heavens? Let go. Fly. Second to the right, and straight on to morning. This moment wasn't originally number 1 on this list, though I was always planning on adding this one. But after doing some research on Aunt May, and after rereading this comic, it became a pretty easy and obvious choice for first place. We redid the entire part of the comic that I'm referring to in regards to why this comic is so important for Aunt May. And like number 2, I feel like this moment really speaks for itself. This is a beautiful and perfect end to Aunt May's character. Like the talk from Ultimate Spider-Man, it fully acknowledges Aunt May's approval in Peter's life as Spider-Man, but this time with the full weight of the mainstream continuity. It also digs deep, and Peter shows what an important part Aunt May had in raising him into the hero and the man that he is today. Is there any better expression of the person Aunt May is than this moment? I certainly couldn't find any. As you may have noticed, this event has been retconned to all hell. Aunt May is alive again, and thanks to the worst thing to happen to Spider-Man comics ever, completely oblivious to Spider-Man's identity, making the contribution the gift has to modern Spider-Man continuity virtually non-existent. Thanks, Marvel! But luckily, I don't feel that this meaningfully undermines the truly amazing Aunt May moment. Aunt May and Peter got a gift, and that final goodbye was such a great summation of her as a character. The woman is and was a lot of things in her life. A mother, a wife, a lady you really don't want to mess around with, but at her core, her greatest achievement, and the reason why we all love her, is for the boy she raised who would become Spider-Man. But seriously, fuck one more day for ruining another good thing in comics. How many times does this keep ruining everything in Spider-Man? I hate Spider-Man now because of all this one more day stuff. This is all stupid. Blah, 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 blah. Thanks for watching my top 10 Aunt May moments. I hope you enjoyed the video, and a huge thanks to Rhonda for participating in this project. She made this thing awesome, and I'm really happy with the final results. You can find the complete list of our top 10 videos on our website, which we have the link for in our video description. I'll also provide Amazon links in the description for some of the comics I've mentioned on this list if you're interested in reading more. We also have a Facebook page, where we post the latest and greatest in the world of comics. And finally, don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep reading comics.